Mhm. Good afternoon.
Oh,
Man, have you gone crazy?
someone headed me that's on my way up here and I forgot that it was no, like I was like you wanted something,
Oh no.
and now I'm really sad.
Yeah. Yeah, why don't you take like a minute outside to do what you can do? I see what kind of damage you can do to it. So happy Monday, everybody. Excited? New week, new opportunities. I get a yes. Okay, extra credit. Good. Cool. Today we're going to continue our unit on systems of equations. I don't have your test ready to pass back yet. Not everyone has taken it yet. I apologize for that delay. If you come by tomorrow, I'll tell you your score if you want to know. Unless I can do it before that, maybe end of the period. I don't know. I'll see how things progress with makeups and such. What I'd like to do is get through this as quickly as possible, give you some time for assignment, and then maybe you can be on your way early. What do you think? Sound like a plan? Okay, would you please discuss with your neighbor what is this word revenue? What do you think revenue and cost functions are? Do you have an idea?
Yeah. I mean, it's like. Oh.
Okay, so who'd like to tell us what's the difference? What are these things? What is revenue in general? Money you earn. Are we good? Revenue. Money. I'm gonna be very specific. Money coming in. You get it. You get the money. And of course, cost is the opposite of that, isn't it? So money going out. You spend the money. And the concept that connects these two is called, what's the word? Profit, yes. Hopefully we have positive profit. So profit by definition is equal to
Revenue.
revenue minus cost. We're not skipping a beat. Thank you. Okay, so again, a lot of these you're going to be able to do just using your intuition and your natural math brain. You'll be able to put these together in a very easy way. What I'd like you to do is use a system of equations and not forget about what you can already do. Hold on to your natural intuition. I want you to learn how to integrate it with the algebra. So in this case, technology is now promising to bring fast, light, and beautiful wheelchairs to millions of people with disabilities. Companies plan to manufacture these radically different wheelchairs. Fixed cost will be $500,000, and it's going to cost $400 to produce each wheelchair. Each wheelchair will be sold for $600. Dun, dun, dun. Right, a cost function of C producing X wheelchairs. And normally for word problems, you're supposed to define your variables, but notice that they've already defined them in the setup. It says X is the number of wheelchairs. Could you already talk about the cost of producing wheelchairs? Or this money going out? We're going to start with C of X equals
Oh,
500,000
uh,
plus 400x. Right, if they make one wheelchair, it costs 500,000, 500,000 and $400. Okay, revenue, of course. Is, yeah, 600x, yes. Break even point. Of course, that just means where the cost equals the revenue. They don't lose any money, so. C of x is equal to R of x. So we would say that 500,000 plus 400,000, 400x is equal to 600x. Subtract 400 from both sides. I imagine if you were doing this intuitively, you would have had that 200 pop up anyway, right? You make $200 per wheelchair. How many does it take to at least make up that 500,000 initial cost? Well, we just divide both sides by 200. So those, I think 5 goes into 5,000, 2 goes into 5,000, something like 2,500 times. And because this is a word problem, I would expect you to answer in
wheelchairs.
a sentence answer. Yes, so
Wait,
you would need,
so 2,500 wheelchairs doesn't count.
correct. We produce 2,500 wheelchairs to break even. A lot of times students get an answer, they don't even know what it means, so we just want to make sure that that you do, even in the simplest case. And I agree, this is a pretty straightforward case. We do expect your answer to be in sentence form. I don't think we need to do that. Ooh. A chemist is working on a flu vaccine and needs to mix a 10% sodium iodine solution with a 60% sodium iodine solution to obtain 50 milliliters of 30% iodine solution, sodium iodine solution. How many milliliters of the 10% and 60% solution should be mixed? Did you notice the typo?
I mean, this whole thing.
It looks like a typo. You might want to see a doctor about that. Well, there's no space after that 60%, or 60%, which is not what I'm talking about. There's no such thing as sodium iodine. Should be sodium iodide. Sodium iodide. Does it matter? Not in the least. Would you check to see if your neighbor knows the chemical symbol for sodium? Check quietly and see if.
I thought I was doing.
So what is it for sodium? It's Na. For iodide, any idea what it is? It is I. Wow, chemistry teacher would be pleased. Did you learn that this year?
Yeah. It's like the first.
Okay, so notice there are no variables. I'm going to have to define my variables, and I could either do that explicitly by saying let x equal this, let y equal that. And I do want two variables because this is a system of equations. Is everything okay, guys? So I need at least two variables or more. Of course, if there's two variables, then we need two equations. If there's three variables, three equations in order to be solvable. I'm gonna define my variables with pictures though. So I'm mixing two things together. Oh, there's no plus in there. So these are both cups of fluid. That's why the top is a little bit warbly. At least in the first one, I meant to make them all a little bit warbly. Warble. So there's some sort of earthquake apparently happening at the moment. Okay, so there's unlimited supply of the first two. And the last one, the mixture has to be 50 milliliters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to depict, use a little bit of color here. Since it's 10% sodium iodide solution, I hope it makes sense that I'm going to do this. I'm going to pretend that it's separated. And all the sodium iodide has sunk into the bottom, which means the rest is probably water. So this is 10% NaI. The next one, it's 60%. So I make that a little bit more than half. This is 60% NaI. And in the end, it's got to be 50%.
Wait,
Did I do something wrong?
no, I would.
Okay, so now the question is, how much of the first two do I mix? So this is where I'm going to define my variables. I'm going to say I'm going to have X milliliters of this one.
Oh, wait, no, the last one's.
Oh, did I do something wrong? Oh, 30%. The last one should be 30%. Thank you. I don't know where that 50 came from. Oh, 50 milliliters. So I have to do this so it's a little bit more accurate. 30%. NaI. I don't hate that kind of error. The crazy careless error. X milliliters of the 10%, which means like how much of the 60% am I going to have? I'm going to have Y milliliters. I don't know how many I'm going to have. And for the 30%, this one says 50 milliliters.
Oh.
Do you already know the equations we're going to use here? X plus Y equals 50. Check with your neighbor to see if you get the other one. X plus Y equals 50. That's one of them.
I think this is something.
Yeah. Wait,
Now, before we do anything, are we going to use more of the 10% or more of the 60%?
more of the. Well.
Or maybe equal? Maybe equal?
I mean,
How do you know it's more than 10%?
it's 30 is closer to 10 than 60.
Yeah, 30 is closer to 10 than it is to 60. It's not, if it's equal amounts, it'd be right in the middle of it, in between that 10% and 60%. Okay, so it's gonna be more X. Okay, so my other equation, what is it? Did you get it already? Yes. 0.1x plus 0.6y equals. Now, I'm gonna say 0.3 times 50, but we could go directly to 15. This equation specifically represents the amount of sodium iodide talking about. The first one is the total amount of solution. This is specific to the amount of sodium iodide. 10% of however much we're going to be sodium iodide. So you have X plus Y equals 50. What method are you going to use here? Substitution, you crazy people. You could use substitution. I'm going to use elimination. I'm going to subtract that second one. Is this going to work?
Like, kind of. Wait,
Something strange is happening here. Where did I mess up?
well, so the X's should be 0.1 and 0.6, not 1 and 6.
No, you can just add a 0.
Oh, I multiplied. Oh yeah, I multiplied it by
Yeah. There you go. That's
10. I multiplied left side by 10. I have to multiply the right side by 10. That's the rule, right? Keep balanced. My bad. So, what's going on here? I have negative 5x, negative 5y equals negative 100, so y equals 20. Did I get that right? Immediately that I know that x is going to equal 30. You could have used substitution. Hopefully get the same thing. Do you all get this? Am I done with the answer? Done with the position? No, it's a word problem. Sentence answer, please. So, and you don't have to say that to make a 30% solution, but you need 30 milliliters, 10% solution. Mass abbreviation for solution that I use is SOL apostrophe N. And 20 milliliters of the 60% solution. And as we suspected, more of the 10% solution. Easy? Does the diagram help? I really like the diagram. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to, but remember to define your variables somehow. If you're not gonna make a diagram, then you'd have to say something like let X equal the amount, number of milliliters of the 10% iodide
Is
solution.
that like a tip to be helpful, or is that a do it or you lose points?
Oh, I need it to be, for sure, I need it to be labeled or defined. Without which you would think you would lose points. Your answer may be correct, which means you kept track of everything in your head, so it'd be minimal loss of points. It wouldn't be like half off. But I do need you to define these variables. I think you can do this one on your own too. Yeah, let's talk about this one. At the North Campus of Art School, 10% of the students are music majors. At the South Campus, 90% of the students are music majors. Campuses emerge into one East Campus. At 42% of the 100% of 1,000 students at the East Campus are music majors. How many students did each of the North and South campuses have before the merger? You do this already? Did we do this? Check in with your neighbor, just make sure they're headed in a good direction with this. I'm calling someone to help me with that.
I don't know. Why?
Just ask for the equations from someone and the defining of variables. Yeah. Okay. Ryan, you help me out with this one, please? How do you define your variables, first of all?
So like X is the students at the South Campus,
When we say students, we mean like the number of students?
yeah, number of students.
Students. South Campus,
Then Y can be the number of students.
North Campus, thank you.
Then you can find one equation because X plus Y is constant.
Okay,
And then the second equation is 0.1x plus 0.9y equals 4,200. Well, then it would be 1x plus 9y equals 42.
okay, so it was 420 then times, well, 42%. Of 1,000. Okay, so 420 and then you multiply by 10.
Yeah.
Okay, did you get an answer for this?
No, not yet.
Okay. That's fine. I'm gonna rewrite that next one. X plus 9y equals 4,200 after you multiply by 10, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, I can take your word for it. Thank you. Has anyone finished this? Sienna, what'd you get? Oh, no, just the answer, like how many South Campus? Do we agree? Okay, thank you. Any questions, Baron? Oh, okay. The only thing Ryan, thank you, that was fantastic. The only thing I'm gonna add is that when you're defining your variables, I recommend put let equal there, let X equal this, Y equal that. I wouldn't take off for not having it, but it's pretty standard.
Well, you wouldn't take off for what?
If I'm recommending to include the word let, they're often called let statements.
Oh,
So when you define your variables, very often you say let X equal this and Y equal that. But if you don't, that's fine. One last one. Rocket Coaster has 15 cars, some hold 4 and some hold 6. Go ahead and write the two equations. We'll be calling on one more person to tell us the equations they got.
6 person.
You're done with your system of equations. Just check in with your neighbor, make sure they got the same thing you did.
I'm feeling it a little.
I just want to know the equations you got. Are you ready to be called on? Sienna, do you have a question or an answer? We'll see if destiny calls upon you. It's very close to you. James, do you have an idea? These equations? And how did you define your variables?
I said X equals the number of cars that can hold 4 people.
Okay,
And I said Y is the number of cars that can hold 6 people.
okay,
And then from there, that gave me X plus Y equals 15, so there's 15 cars.
okay.
And then I got, for the other equation, I got 4X plus 6Y equals 72.
Do we agree? Did you get an answer for this?
Yeah, and then I got Y equals 6, X equals.
Do we agree?
Yeah.
Cool. And of course, we write that as a sentence answer this word test or something like that. I chose to put this one up here just so subtraction, I guess subtraction. is a good way to go. Substitution in order to get them to be the same. Any questions? Ready to start your homework?
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, James, thank you for your help.